Welcome back, Patriots, to the Ball Brad Show. We're going to kick today's episode off with yesterday's White House press briefing, where Jackie Heinrich of Fox News questions Karine Jean-Pierre regarding the protesters that were chanting death to America and death to Israel in Dearborn, Michigan. And here's her response.
A couple days ago in Dearborn, there were protesters chanting death to America and death to Israel. Does the president condemn that?
Yes.
Is the president at all concerned that Dearborn is facing a risk of becoming a hotbed of any sort of homegrown threats?
I don't have any intelligence to share with you on that. Obviously, that's something that we're always very vigilant about, but don't have any national intelligence to share with you.
And then,
But obviously, we will condemn any violent rhetoric, which we have been very. I mean, you're hearing from me, right? You're asking me a question, I'm answering it, and we've been very vigilant about, or very consistent about denouncing that type of rhetoric.
should we see it?
But they haven't been, folks. These are the same people that are part of the same party that when Donald Trump was in office, you had Maxine Waters standing up there and saying, go after Trump supporters in restaurants, on the streets, wherever you see them. So they were targeting people like Sarah Huckabee Sanders when she was White House press secretary. They attacked other major politicians on the conservative side of the aisle when Donald Trump was in office. These are the same people that sat there and told you that it was mostly peaceful protests taking place when buildings were on fire, full cities were up in flames. And these are the same people that are trying to tell you, we've been clear about it. We've been sitting there since day one against violent rhetoric and all those other things. No, you haven't. Not at all. These are the same people that want to sit there and call you a Nazi and punch you in the face in the middle of the street when Donald Trump was in office. These are the same people that were protesting outside a Supreme Court justice's house. Don't give me all this stuff. Folks, Antifa, that masquerades as anti-fascist when in actuality they're fascists, are an outgrowth of the Democrat Party that punches people like Andy Ngo in the back of the head and assaults the guy. So this whole idea that she's going, well, we've been clear on this, is a bunch of hubbub. It's a bunch of foo-foo.
Should we expect a statement from the president on that, though? I mean, it was a pretty significant display.
I mean, you're hearing from me. I think that's important. The other part, too, that I do want to be very clear about, peaceful protest is something that the president has also been very clear that is important to give folks space to peacefully protest. But any type of violent rhetoric, we are going to denounce.
And then on...
Folks, it's crazy. It's crazy. Her word equals the weight of the word of Joe Biden coming out and sitting there and condemning it. I just want to play this, and we'll come back to this, I promise. Folks, for years, and matter of fact, even till today, the left, the Democrat Party as well, will sit there and say Donald Trump never condemned white supremacy. He's done it for years. He was clear as day. So here's the compilation. I just want this here because these progressive left woke libs still can't understand that Donald Trump came out on the podium with his face and his voice condemning white supremacy, where Joe Biden has not stood out there and on his behalf condemned what exactly took place in Dearborn, Michigan. But we're hearing it from Karine Jean-Pierre, and so it's of equal weight, you guys. It's of equal weight. Even though the left demanded that Donald Trump come out and condemn white supremacy, here he is.
Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups?
Sure. You've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem.
Would you repudiate David Duke?
Sure.
David Duke and robocalls are out again, the white supremacist movement supporting you. Do you have any words for that?
Well, I disavow.
David Duke endorsed me? Okay. All right. I disavow. Okay?
When we looked at it and looked at the question, I disavowed David Duke. So I've disavowed David Duke all weekend long on Facebook, on Twitter, and obviously it's never enough.
Trump's refusal to condemn, distance himself from white supremacists.
The Anti-Defamation League is already out there asking the president to clarify why he didn't condemn white supremacists.
So are you... Folks, Joe Biden said if you don't vote for him, then you ain't black. Joe Biden told Mitt Romney that he's going to throw y'all back in chains. Joe Biden has said so many racist things, it's head spinning. And the same people that said, I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump because he's so racist, he's a sexist, bigot, homophobe, all these things, are voting for a guy whose vice president called him a racist on the campaign trail, and now she's his vice president. Let that one sink in. The vice president, Kamala Harris, called Joe Biden a racist, and now she's sitting there, and his running mate to be vice president during the campaign, all the while you just got done campaigning calling the guy a racist. I know, it's crazy.
Are you prepared right now to make a clear and unequivocal statement renouncing the support of all white supremacists?
Of course I am. Of course I am.
When Chris joined, we had a news conference, and they asked me the exact same question. I said, I disavow. I disavowed then. I disavowed today on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. I disavowed again.
David Duke is a bad person who I disavowed on numerous occasions over the years.
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke. Ultimately, he got to the Ku Klux Klan, which obviously I'm going to disavow.
I reject David Duke, rejected David.
Folks, this goes on for another 3 minutes of nothing but a compilation of him disavowing and condemning the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, white supremacy, David Duke, whatever you want to call it. But it's good enough. It's good enough that Karine Jean-Pierre here says, we condemn it. Yep, nope. But yet it wasn't good enough for all those compilations of Donald Trump to sit there and condemn what took place in Charlottesville or whatever, but yet we're just supposed to be okay with, no, it's fine. She spoke on the podium, 30-second spiel. Oh, yeah, we condemn it. Like, I'm glad they did. That's the clearest she's probably ever been, but I would like to see the president as well, in the same way that you held Donald Trump to a specific standard. I want to see that same standard being held for Joe Biden, but that's not going to happen, you guys. They're never held to equal standards. Never. It's not even close. Seeing the Biden administration on how the media treats Joe Biden versus how the media treated Donald Trump ain't even close, and it still isn't close.
Some of the comments he made today, did the president mean to essentially accuse Republicans of murder? I mean, the language that he was using to describe opposition to the Affordable Care Act, the quote was, they want to terminate the Affordable Care Act. Terminate, well, guess what? Killing millions of Americans. Does he think that Republicans are trying to kill Americans?
I think you're taking the most extreme definition or extreme evaluation of what the president said. Here's the reality. The Affordable Care Act, which obviously started in the Obama-Biden administration, the president expanded on that, making sure that people have affordable health care. That saves lives. It does. It is important. It is, but you're taking what he said to the most extreme part of your definition or your realization. I know.
Isn't that what the media, the progressive left, Karine Jean-Pierre, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Anthony Blinken, John Kirby, Jen Psaki, I mean, anybody in the White House, isn't that what they always do with Donald Trump? When he called MS-13 violent gang members animals, and they go, oh, you're calling all immigrants animals. Oh, how terrible, when he wasn't. Then he was talking about Lincoln Riley. Oh, all of a sudden, when he's referring to her killer as an animal and those that come here illegally and murder people as animals, oh, you're calling all illegal immigrants, Mexicans, Hispanics, all these people, you're calling them all animals, which he wasn't. Isn't that what you guys do, Karine? Isn't it in the same way that you sit there and take things to the extreme on how we're frustrated that people are pouring across this country illegally, taking money from hard-earned taxpayers' pockets and putting it towards somebody else that should have never been here in the first place, when it can go to actual homeless people here, or it can go to our veterans, or it can go to fixing our roads or railways or whatever it is? Like, you take it to the extreme with us by calling us extremists. You call us a threat to democracy. You call us a threat to the republic, all because we want to make this country great and give back to people who are in need of it, meaning other Americans. Once we take care of ourselves first, then we could take care of other people, which is logical. But it's pretty wild here of, again, Jackie Heinrich playing into the game, which I think she should be, of taking Joe Biden's words to the extreme, which I think she did very loosely. I think he was really clear on what he meant by it, but she's going to sit here and spin it. Not Joe Biden's not going to spin it. She has to spin everything that comes out of that guy's mouth, because the things that come out of his mouth are so insane. Don't worry. She's not far off, though, of her insanity being portrayed each and every week as well.
No, but let's be really clear. Let's be really clear. People having health care is important. It saves lives. It is important to have that. The fact that this president was able to expand that is important, right? We're talking about people who didn't have access to health care that could, whether they're dealing with diabetes or cancer or something that is affecting their everyday life, right? And I think You know, when you have a party that's trying to get rid of Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and says it bluntly and wants to repeal, they tried to repeal Affordable Health Care, or Affordable Care Act, to be more specific, more than 60 times. They literally voted on it when it is saving people's lives. Why? Why do they do that? Why? Do they not want Americans to have health care, affordable health care, to protect themselves, to save their lives? I mean, that's the question to be asked. The president's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to be where majority of Americans are, and protect their health care, protect their Medicare, protect their Medicaid. And you don't see that from the other side. You just don't. He literally had a back and forth with them during the State of the Union about that. So, again.
Joe Biden did not have a back and forth with Republicans, folks. This guy can't even have a back and forth with his teleprompter. His teleprompter's been undefeated for 4 years. I say it's the most insane statistic we have. I mean, hell, and that's speaking a lot because look at what's going on our southern border with Joe Biden breaking records there. Folks, it is such a lie that she's going to sit there and continually espouse this BS that Republicans want to sit there and get rid of your Social Security, your Medicare, your Medicaid, your health care. No. We're talking about, hey, just Democrats out there, you're only going to get 70 to 80% of your Social Security if we keep this up. We're going to go insolvent in less than 10 years. The Social Security Trust Fund isn't doing well either. So at some point, we have to have the conversation of, what do? Do we raise the tax, is what I'm going to call it, or what's being withdrawn from your paycheck for Social Security, each paycheck, to go ahead and pay off or pay for those that are in retirement now through Social Security? Like, we have to have the conversation at some point. But Democrats, these politicians in general, never ran a business. They don't understand how taxes work. They don't understand how anything works, you guys. We just elect these people in, and we don't actually think about it. And it's so frustrating because she's going to sit there and lie, and then you have other Americans that are going to sit there and just lap it up. Oh, she's telling the truth. Oh, I'm going to believe everything she says. Oh, 4 more years. 4 more years. It's just freaking wild. The conversation has to be had at some point. There has to be a restructuring, or else the government's going to have stolen 20 to 30% of your money. That's what you call it. If you gave 100%, let's just say 100% into Social Security, and they go, you know what? We understand that you gave 100%. You're only getting 70. Folks, where'd the other 30% go? Yeah, no, it was stolen is what you call it. It was theft, because these people are idiots, and it's not their money. It's your money. And when they're playing with somebody else's money, this is how you get close to $35 trillion in debt. That's how. They're idiots. And speaking of idiots, we got another one right here. Secretary Yellen. Economist explains that the average American's finances are fine. Everything's fine. Everyone's doing okay. You can't fill up your car. You can't put food on the table. You're doing okay. This is the message. Oh, don't take it from me. Take it from Janet Yellen. I don't know what it is with Joe Biden hiring knuckleheads, but it seems to be a running theme here. Let's expand it to Democrats. What's up with Democrats hiring people like this or electing people like Joe Biden in office? Squint your eyes just a little bit. Okay, just go like that. Go like that and tell me. Joe Biden, Janet Yellen, or maybe Hillary Clinton. Okay, you squint enough, it looks like Joey. That's all I'm saying. So just listen to what this knucklehead has to say. It's freaking wild. It's so wild.
I believe inflation will continue to come down.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just wondering if the economy continues to hold up no matter what happens on the Fed.
I think we've got a good, strong economy. We've got very strong domestic demand. Consumers are holding up. Some low-income consumers are perhaps exhausting their buffers of saving that they built up during the pandemic. We're seeing a little bit more distress at the household level there. But generally, households are in very good financial shape. Our financial system is generally quite strong. Things can always happen. There's always recession risk. Geopolitical developments could create risk to our economy. But I think we've got a good, strong economy that's on a solid track.
Oh, it's geopolitical that can cause everything. You guys, you have to understand why she's being very crafty with her words here. Oh, it's geopolitical, which is true. But the thing is that nothing that has happened that's negative towards our economy or inflation or your pocketbook or taxes or gas prices or grocery bills, whatever it is, has never been Joe Biden's fault. He has not taken responsibility for anything. What's astonishing is that when gas prices went through the roof, he blamed it on Vladimir Putin. Even though if you look at the trajectory, and we've already shown the graphs here on the show, the prices were already going through the roof before Vladimir Putin ever invaded Ukraine, but they're still going to start that at the point, I think it was February 24th, was where they're going to start the point at, well, it all happened when he invaded Ukraine. All of a sudden, things went down the pooper. No. Gas prices were going through the roof, but you want to take credit when gas prices go down, but when they go up, oh, it's Putin's fault, it's Xi Jinping's fault, hell, it's Trump's fault somehow. No, it's your fault and your agenda. She's going to be doing the same thing here of lying and saying, oh, no, households are fine. No, everything's dandy. You heard it from herself. Oh, well, they're just exhausting buffers of savings that they accumulated during COVID. Folks, if you're tapping into your savings, that is not a good thing. That is a terrible thing to tap into your emergency fund. When you tap into your emergency fund, guess what's happening? Yes, an emergency, but she's going to sit here and swindle all of you. So these come on the heels of where, and look at this knucklehead Gavin Newsom down here. Freaking Newsom poll, what an idiot. He's terrible. He's gonna be possibly president in the future, which is even another whole episode within itself. Well, Yellen's comments come on the heels of a number of polls indicating that average Americans do not agree with her, and many of them believe they were economically better off under Donald Trump than they had been under President Joe Biden. Folks, let that sink in. COVID happened under Donald Trump, and people are looking around going, yeah, shit was still better. I was doing pretty good. Doing pretty good under Donald Trump. They are so out of touch. They are so out of touch with the American people. It is really head spinning, and you're seeing it right there. A recent evaluation of several polls compiled in late March, like literally last month, the Brookings Institute showed that nearly across the board, basically, doesn't matter what you look at, Americans don't believe the Biden economy has done them any favors. Basically saying, you could throw a dart at any of these polls, and they're all going to tell you the same thing. The New York Times, which is not Republican or conservative, definitely not right-leaning, conducted in early March, for example, showed that just 26% saw economic conditions as excellent or good. Mind you, some of those people live under a rock, by the way. These are the same people that think Joe Biden is sharp. These are the same probably 26% that think Joe Biden has it all together. The guy is completely all there. He's coherent. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows the words that are coming out of his mouth. He knows his name. He knows his wife's name. These are the 26% of people. If you ask them, go, hey, do you remember Joe Biden talking to dead people? No recollection of that. In the same way, Joe Biden has no recollection of what he just had for breakfast. So these are that 26%. More than 51%, Jesus, said conditions were poor, and 23% said economic conditions were fair. So basically 74% were like, yeah, things are fair, but not looking good. But don't worry, guys, just everybody's doing fine. Now, there's another survey here that was published in late March as well. It did not paint a rosier picture for Biden. Just over 1/5 of voters, 21%, believed the economy was getting better, while more than half, 52%, said it was getting worse. Now, I'm going to be fair. I never try to lie to you guys. I won't go out of my way to do that. The economy is doing better, okay? The market is doing better, but people aren't feeling it, though. People are in such a rough state of losing the value of their dollar during that 9.1% that they haven't caught up yet. You have to make thousands of dollars more under Joe Biden than you would have under Trump to have the same amount of money than you did when you had the Trump administration in office. So you have to work exceedingly harder to have the value of your dollar be the same under Joe than when it was under Trump. It is wild. So the economy is doing better, but you're not feeling it at home. And that could be for a various of reasons and factors. Maybe your budgeting is off, or maybe you're having to tap into your savings, or maybe you lost your job under COVID. I mean, there's so many variables that go into this. The economy is doing better. Americans not feeling it. A March poll from CBS News took things a step further, asking voters to directly compare Biden's economy to Trump's. When they did so, only 38% rated Biden's economy as good, compared to 65% who said Trump's economy was good. There was COVID. There was freaking COVID under Trump, and people were like, yeah, I know, it's pretty good. Just says how great Trump is. It says how great Trump is. Folks, look, I'm a registered Republican, conservative, fiscal, I almost said fiscal Democrat. Jesus, is there even such a thing? A fiscal conservative at heart. I am not beholden to the Republican Party. I'm not beholden to the Democrat Party. What I will say is Republicans tend to run things better than Democrats. The reason why I say that is because a lot of Republicans tend to have some sort of fiscal conservatism conservatism inside them. Meaning, by definition, you'd want to be responsible for money, the policies that you implement. And at times, one of the main questions you have to ask is, what types of liberties and freedom are you giving up or are you imposing on somebody else? More or less, what are you trying to remove from another person when you enact a policy? Democrats don't think that way. They just think, it's somebody else's money. It's somebody else's a dollar that's coming out of their pocketbook. How can we spend it? Rather than how can we save it and how can we use it responsibly? And by the way, the policies and regulations that we're enacting, how does this limit people's freedoms? How does this limit people's liberties? They don't ask those types of questions, at least in somewhat Republicans do. Some Republicans do, not everybody. Look, they're all politicians. They're a tool, folks. We vote in people to sit there and do our bidding. If they don't do it, then we got to X them. But a lot of people don't want to do that. We still got knuckleheads in office. Well, I got to share this with you, and I haven't done it all myself here. This one is wild. I don't know exactly how true it's going to be, but this is kind of going viral right now. So from Benny Johnson, there's a CIA officer and former FBI official who's bragging on camera about being able to put problematic right-wing journalists like Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones in jail. Confirms using embellished corporate media stories for wrap-up smear and places 20 undercover FBI agents at the Capitol on January 6th. Now, if you recall, we covered portions of January 6th where we know that there was supposedly, allegedly, hundreds of FBI agents and people that were undercover at the January 6th riots, but nobody wants to look under the hood on this bad boy, which is why I go back to, why are Republicans not doing our bidding? Why are they not looking further into this January 6th? Because clearly there's a massive agenda on the Democrat side of the aisle, from the January 6th pipe bomb that was found at the DNC to another January 6th pipe bomb that was found at the RNC, all within 12 minutes of one another, of which the Secret Service, the Metro Police all knew about, where they had pedestrians walking by it of a pipe bomb, where the vice president that was about to be basically in place as, or I should say the incoming vice president was about to be put forth as the vice president was in the building with a pipe bomb right next to it. You're telling me that maybe they didn't know anything about it? And it was just all a coincidence that both pipe bombs in two separate areas of DC were just all of a sudden found within 12 minutes of one another. And by the way, within the time frame of the Capitol actually having people going inside it. Really? Just all worked out that way. There's also video of people inciting certain rhetoric at the Capitol of basically trying to build up pent up emotion for people to storm into it. Like none of this wants to be looked under the hood. Find it fascinating. A lot of things don't want to be looked under the hood, like our election integrity. Why are we not looking under the hood? If both sides clearly want it, why aren't they looking under the hood on it? That's my question, because Democrats are going to cheat again. You know they are. They did it before. Because nothing happened, they're going to do it again. Well, here's the intelligence. I guess here's the journalism, real journalism, investigative journalism that you're not going to see from MSNBC, that you don't see anymore nowadays. Right here. Let's go ahead and roll it.
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do.
How?
You set them up.
Does the Bureau practice entrapment a lot?
And we get really close. We call it a nudge.
A nudge.
A nudge. Sometimes you just got to give them a quick little, just to see what happens. Sometimes you light the fuse and just wait for it to follow. Nothing like putting out a fake social media thing to like really get people mad.
Alex Jones.
Yeah, so we were after him.
You are?
We did what we wanted.
Which was what?
Took his money away, chopped his legs off.
Gavin O'Blennis is a contracting officer at the CIA. O'Blennis worked for the FBI in 2021 and 2022 in the San Diego office, moved on to Homeland Security where he conducted asylum interviews at the southern border, and now works for the CIA managing multi-million-dollar contracts across government agencies and private sector vendors.
I work for, how do I put this without, I'm not supposed to tell people kind of job. If I say intelligence, what do you think?
CIA?
Yep.
Oh, you work for the CIA?
I do.
That's incredible.
I'm a contracting officer.
That's amazing.
So I deal a lot with like different agencies. We're contracting with like Director of National Intelligence to do stuff. We do Navy, Army, any of them really. I just FBI. I used to work for the FBI, so they threw the FBI at me. They're like, "Here, you used to work there." Oh, I'm permanent. I'm set. Yeah.
Good. Well, why do they call it contracting?
Because I do the contract. I do all the legal contracts. I fly out to vendors and evaluate them. I love the agency.
Good for you.
I like the Bureau too. The Bureau was a lot of fun. I got to do a lot of cool stuff with the Bureau. I was the guy in the back of the truck in the van.
O'Blennis spoke to an undercover Sound Investigations reporter about his work experience involving near entrapment and his employer's involvement with political commentator Alex Jones's legal battles.
As long as the Bureau is able to progress far enough to be able to put pro-lifers in jail whenever they want.
Yeah.
You think that's on the agenda?
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do.
How?
You set them up. You create the situation to where they have no choice but to act on their impulse. And once they act on that impulse, then we call that entrapment. It's a fine line.
Does the Bureau practice entrapment a lot?
We get really close.
Not officially?
No.
That is wild. It continues to go forward. We're actually going to have that entire video uploaded at a different hour today on the Bald Brad Show, that you'll be able to catch the entirety of this gentleman here just spewing insane and wild things. You actually have Alex Jones stepping up here, and maybe rightfully so based on what we heard. Again, I'm Benny Johnson here on Twitter, also known as X. Alex Jones confirms he will sue the FBI and CIA after a CIA agent admitted agency targeted Jones to destroy his career. You just saw it on tape. Now, could the guy have been lying? Sure. Could he have been boasting about, people kind of embellish what they do? Oh, you're some dude that's just sitting there like typing on a keyboard. You work for the CIA or FBI, but hell, you're a receptionist. Maybe you're the freaking janitor, but you're like telling people, oh, I was in the van, with the microphone on. I was talking to the guy and I could hear him. And he was like, I would be there with my goggles and just like looking at him, So some of these, it could be embellishing, but my question is, what's Tucker's response to this? Because his name was mentioned as well. I'm planning on launching a lawsuit. So here's Alex Jones talking a little bit about what we just saw here. Let's roll it.
But now that this has come out, this is a FBI agent, a CIA boss. He's a contract manager over large contract operations. That's a boss. That's like a mini section chief, saying all of this and admitting all of this like it's no big deal. He needs to be subpoenaed by Congress. I am planning to launch a lawsuit against the CIA and the FBI. We have to bring all this out. And right as my bankruptcy comes to a close and right as all this stuff's being finalized, it's really God working here that this came out at this time.
You just said you were planning on suing the federal government. What would a Alex Jones versus the U.S. government look like?
Well, I'm talking to different law firms right now that specialize in this. In fact, when I get off the feed with you, I'm going to get back on the phone with the lawyers. It's obviously a civil rights violation. It's a government racketeering operation using cutouts. And look, they come after my mother, my father, my wife. In these mediations, they've said, listen, just come out against the Second Amendment and we'll drop all this. They've done that repeatedly. And they've even said, listen, we're a mafia and there's nothing you can do to stop us, to my face, in front of my lawyer, in front of Norm Pattis. And so they're very arrogant. These are the sellouts. These are the traitors. These are the people that really love being under the corrupt FBI's wings, under the CIA's wings. They get a thrill. They get to go out and persecute fellow Americans, lie about them, say all these horrible things, and then say you said it, steal your identity, silence you so they can all pile in on you, make movies about themselves with judges and flash bulbs, and oh, we're so great. We went out and got the big Goliath.
Alex Jones, love him or hate him, the man is an entertainer nonetheless. I do listen to Alex Jones when he's on like Joe Rogan's podcast or when he maybe slips on, I think maybe Tim Pool's or obviously Benny Johnson here and others. Steven Crowder's another one that will have him on. You have to see him first, you guys, as an entertainer. Listen to what he has to say and pick out the parts that are supposed to be for entertainment purposes and then find the parts where there is a breadcrumb trail that you could follow. There are things that Alex Jones has said that are true. There's things that he said are false. There's things that he said are silly, but you have to be able to listen to those. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's like that with any show, whether it's Benny Johnson's show, it's my show. You have to know that what you see being portrayed on camera isn't what that person's really like. I don't really have this much energy. I'm not yelling all the time. I'm not animated. I'm not acting silly all the time. That's not my personality, but we do this for entertainment because you're watching, right? You want to grab the listener and viewer by your actions, by your emotions, and hopefully they could sit there and reciprocate that action and that emotion that they're watching and really see and get a sense of, yes, the entertainment value, but also that you really mean what you're saying. I'm not here trying to sway you. I really do mean the things I say on the show. It doesn't mean that I get things wrong. I do, but that's partially why to do it, so that I can go back and look and say, hey, you know what I said was, oh yeah, you're right. That was a knucklehead thing to do. I don't know why I said that, or, you know, speaking off the cuff, whatever it may be. Alex Jones, I just want to be careful when I do cover him, because he does say some knucklehead things, but I really do enjoy watching him. He's a freaking entertainer. And there are a lot of things he got right. And I'm really into conspiracy theories, UFOs, aliens, you know, government intelligence agencies, stuff like that. So I really do find that a lot of fun. But I will upload both Alex Jones as well as that full investigation video on my channel about an hour after this one gets uploaded. It might already be uploaded now as you're watching it. Forgive me, I am a little bit under the weather. I'm sure maybe you can hear it in my voice. I think I did cough at one point during the episode. I am so sorry. I don't know what's going on this year. I've gotten sick more than ever. I don't know what is happening. I'm healthy. You know, I don't eat terribly. You know, I don't eat a lot of garbage food, but I appreciate you bearing with me nonetheless. We are trying our best here on the show. I really do appreciate your love, support, and kindness, folks, that not only you have for me, but also this great nation of ours, folks. And I'll see you next time here on The Bo Brad Show.